The next story we have, check this out. City of Oakland mayor is branded racist for giving families of color $500 a month if they earn under $59,000 with no rules on how they spend it, but offering poor white families nothing. Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf announced the race-based program to give families of color $500 monthly checks. Half of the $500 grants will be to families earning under $30,000 in the predominantly BIPOC East Oakland area. Now, there's a couple important things to point out. For one, it's privately funded. Okay, so fine. If somebody has $1 million and they say, I'm only going to give it to people I want to give it to, well, welcome to private exchange of wealth. That's okay. There you go. The city is implementing this, though, so I have questions about the legality, even if it is privately funded. But the other thing is they say BIPOC. You know what that means?
I'm going to guess. Correct me if I'm wrong. Black and indigenous people of color.
Yeah. Yes. And do you know what? Do you know what? There's
Indigenous?
2 minority groups missing from that BIPOC.
Jewish Canadians.
Oh, all right. Well, I guess if you want to get really technical, there's a lot of people missing from BIPOC. Asians, Latinos.
But
and
but
Jewish people as
Asians
well.
have been elevated. Asian people
So
are
why
the next
isn't it
white
BIPOCA?
people. BIPOCA?
Yeah, BIPOCA.
It sounds like a mouthwash.
BIPOCO.
It's like an alpaca.
BIPOCA.
So, look, man, I wouldn't qualify for something like this.
Right.
And you have people in this country who are not even white who would not qualify for something like this. This is where things start getting twisted. And they talk about reparations. This ain't reparations. This is literally being like, just not for you, white person. So you told a story about how you moved here and did you consider yourself poor?
When I moved here, yeah. I was
Well,
making no money.
you don't qualify for any help. Sorry.
Yeah, I know.
Because of your race.
Okay.
We've judged you. We know.
Well, isn't that racist, sir?
Quite literally is the definition.
Yep.
Yes, racist.
Okay,
Discrimination
so
on the basis of
can you
race.
fix it? And can I then get reparations because I didn't get reparations?
Is that what we're going to do? Is it going to be another 50 years? And then we're like, all of these programs and all this money that was spent was racist, therefore reparations for white people?
Yeah, I think we knew this was coming in this country. You knew this, right?
I knew this. Look, you need to understand. My family was experiencing all of this critical race theory stuff when I was a little kid. Coming from a mixed race family, I think there's a lot of white suburban, and there's a lot of white people who don't realize this stuff has been happening for a really, really long time.
Right.
And it was in our faces. You know what I mean? So, look, my dad's white. And there was anti-white sentiment with affirmative action and things like that in Chicago. And so he would get told that he was wealthy and privileged for being white. Meanwhile, he's in a mixed race relationship, which is extremely rare in this country. It really
by
is.
the way, that's a sign of racism. I don't know if you
That's
caught Bill Burr. The fact that he's married
That's
to a black
right.
woman makes him a
Now,
racist.
now apparently,
so I didn't know. That.
Siraj Hashmi said that guy was a troll, and
Yeah.
but there are many people who have already said that. I was at UW in Seattle, and one of these woke guys was arguing to me that mixed race relationships, particularly with Asians, especially with Asians, was a sign of fascism or whatever, because Germany loved the Japanese, and I was like, you're a moron.
Yeah.
I just don't even know where to begin. But growing up and having my family be like, I guess we could say lower middle class, but then we ultimately ended up losing our home to a bankruptcy. It's really interesting to be in a family where it's like, sometimes our fridge is going to be empty, or we're eating like steaks from Dominic's that are like particularly cheap.
Yeah.
And my family does the best that it can, but we're by no means rich. And then, my dad gets told he's not qualified for a promotion or things like that because he's the wrong race. So you mean to tell me that we have the civil rights fight, Loving v. Virginia, to make it legal to ban miscegenation laws, right? It was actually illegal before 1967 in many states to cohabitate with someone of a different race. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
1967.
Yeah.
It's not even that long ago, man.
No, I feel like sodomy was legal in more states.
Right?
Probably.
Yeah.
And so you actually had this period where like my mom and my mom's side of the family are growing up literally at a time when they had to flee different states because it was quite literally illegal.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. The civil rights protests worked. And now here I am. And now I'm told, depending on my ideology, I don't fit in. I don't qualify for their special programs. And I try to explain to people, listen, I'm the last person in the world who's going to complain about my identity and be like, I demand this because I'm marginalized for this reason. But I will point out your hypocrisy and your short-sightedness. What these people don't realize when they talk about the black, indigenous, people of color communities, the indigenous community has a community. The black community has a community. The Latinos have a community. The Asians have a community. There's no like mixed race meeting groups where you share your common cultures.
Right.
In fact, Koreans are extremely racist and they're not forgiving. So you grow up in this environment where the only thing you actually have that you find yourself surrounded by is Americans. I grew up in an area where, people of all different races, all Americans. So there was no issue with race. Now we're entering this world where they're claiming they're the champions against racism, and they're quite literally making it worse for everybody, especially the ones that the civil rights movement fought to help.
And it's amazing, most of the people that are against racism are also anti-American.
Definitely.
And when you say that there's this unity between people that just, no matter what race they are hanging American flags outside their home, you're just like, oh, everybody's going to get along here no matter what's happening because they believe in the country. The thought came into my head literally this morning, and we haven't heard it for years because it didn't exist during Trump's presidency. Remember the old love it or leave it quote that people used to say all the, well, you love it or you leave it. And it's like, that is so far gone now because the country's gone through such turmoil and separation. It's inevitably going to change. There's no going back to that life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, love it or leave it. I don't think so. I think that he was the closest thing that they were going to get, but Trump's egoism probably kept us from that. But I don't think it's going to happen. It's not going to happen under this presidency.
I mean, Joe Biden's awful for a lot of reasons, and I think Donald Trump was I call him the imperfect avatar of the national populist rage that they were feeling. The establishment was politicians are crooked, corrupt, crony politicians. We've known it for a long time. We saw the Occupy protests, now almost 10 years ago. People in this country were fed up with the revolving door policies. Some guy works for Halliburton, and then all of a sudden he's the vice president. We knew how the game was being played, and we snapped and said enough. And you had a split. You had left populists who are like, we need social programs and welfare and socialist policy. And then you had the right, laissez-faire, more capitalist, things like that. So, many moderates. And then you end up with Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. And he was the one strong enough to smash the door down. Unfortunately, he's imperfect. Maybe Ron DeSantis in 2024 will be much better and more tactful and better embody that anger from, many of the American nationalist types. Bernie Sanders came out recently and denounced the permanent suspension of Donald Trump from the social media platforms. That's a good sign. Yeah. And I'm hoping that we can find certain things to agree on because the Trump supporters, I think, recognize this to a certain degree. They have more in common with Bernie Sanders supporters and these progressives than they do with the Democratic establishment. Sure. The problem is many of these progressives will vote for a corporate Democrat before they ever imagine voting for a right-wing populist because they think they're fascists. That's what that's the barrier that's got to be broken down, where it's like, look, man, my policy positions, my ideals, I took the political compass test. I'm even further left than I realized on the political compass test. It was crazy. Yeah. Because I'm like, tax the rich and all that stuff. And I'm like, how about this? How about we tax the Hollywood rich? Is that something conservatives would agree with? I think they probably would.
I think it's a fun idea for when you run for office.
I'm not going to.
Never?
Yeah. No way.
Come
Never.
on.
No. I will say.
You can kill a whole bunch of old people, and then you can just go flirt with women, and nobody cares.
You do I
like a touch of your face. Hey, I'm Italian. Whoopsie, I'm Italian.
Is that racist, or are we allowed to talk about Italians because
we're allowed to talk about whoever? You could just put the trouble to me. I just showed up here. You could just say I just dropped into your house.
I think it's almost like Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump were extreme versions of themselves or the ideas of what they represented. Like Trump represented the anger from right-wing populists and the America First types, the people who want this country to actually use its tax dollars to support this country. And then you get Trump. Trump is like, he's almost America incarnate. He's a loud, arrogant, boisterous, capitalist, entrepreneur. So America, like, what did Obama say? In college, the American dream is to be Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton was like, it's really amazing. If you were if on a scale of 1 to 10 of representations of things, in this country, Donald Trump is cranked up to 11. Yeah. In terms of like how much he embodies this kind of American exceptionalism.
His president goes to 11.
Right. And Hillary Clinton, when you want to embody corrupt corporate crony politics, she was cranked up to 11 as well. Yeah. And Trump barely won that one. Joe Biden, they cranked it down a little bit, and then I guess, that was enough for him.
I don't think he knows what he's doing, and I
don't,
think that.
But wait, hold on. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
When you say I don't think he knows what he's doing, do you mean to say like as president or just at any given moment?
At any given moment, Tim. He doesn't know where he's standing. He has no idea what's going on. Him walking up the plane steps was just so funny. He has no idea. He's a puppet for that party. And it would have been awesome to see Bernie Sanders run against Trump. I think that they could have used that extremism.
Bernie, I don't know if Bernie would win now because of critical race theory. But I think Bernie would have won in 2016, hands down.
Yeah. 9
million people switched from voting for Obama in 2012 to voting for Trump.
I like the notion of DeSantis because when you're an immigrant and you move here, you embrace American ideals, although somewhat antiquated. So our version of America was when Reagan was president, when I would watch TV and you'd watch the news, and I was in my early teens, and you're like, that's where I want to live. I want to live where you can say trickle-down economics. That's where I want to live. And there was this beauty of it, and Scarface was around that time, and there was just this notion of the American dream, and that's what we kicked the doors down to have. We didn't want to kick the doors down and be like, no, you're white, get to the back of the line. And I've heard it numerous times. I was up for a Comedy Central thing. First year, they go, you're perfect, but we got enough white guys. Second year.
No, wait, really? Like how long ago?
Really? I did Ari Shaffir's show, and it was called This Is Not Happening. So this is maybe 4 years ago. And now Comedy Central is the wokest you can get. You remember Broad City kind of trailed them off, and now they're just doing bar shows with 20 people and horrible woke comedy. But they told me, I had this story where I'm going to say it as clean as possible because I don't want you to get in trouble. I pleasured myself in front of two men for $150, and at climax, the man said, I want it on me, but I didn't want to go over there because that was too femme for me, so I threw it at him. And that's the whole bit. It's a 15-minute story. It's brilliant.
Advanced and offensive. I like it.
It's brilliant. You can't tell it clean. It's available on ComedyCentral.com. You can watch it. It's the hot chocolate story. It's a real story. I was a stripper for like a summer and a half, and this story was perfect for this thing. It was this long-form storytelling show about stuff that you can't believe happened. This is not happening. Then second year, I submitted, and Ari's a friend of mine. He goes, you're great, but they really need women of color. They're looking for it. So they would down.
That happened to me at Vice.
Yeah. And then
Fusion.
And then year 3, he goes, you came really close, but they already had enough famous white guys. Then I was at a Mets game, and someone called. I guess someone dropped out. They're like, can you be in L.A. Saturday and shoot this? And I go, yeah. But I've had it happen to my face where because of the color of your skin, not the content of your character, you're denied something.
And the problem is, what is it, 66 to 70% of the country is white?
Is it?
Yeah.
That'll be significantly less in what, 20 years?
It will be. I think in 20 years it'll be something like in the 50s. Like by 2050, it's going to be, when like white people become a minority. Yeah. They'll still be the plurality.
And then we get reparations.
I think my issue with it is I actually like the idea of representation. I talk about this quite a bit when I can't remember what happened. Some Marvel movie was coming out. I think it was Black Panther. When Black Panther came out,
I saw it 4 times.
And did you like it?
I did not watch
really?
it. No.
Oh, you
didn't
watch
see
it?
No.
I thought Black Panther. Yeah, I thought it was great.
Is it great?
Yeah, there's a line where T'Challa, the king of Wakanda, goes, "We cannot allow immigrants into our country because they'll bring their problems with us." And I was like, whoa, that's like super Trumpian. Yeah, it's in the movie.
We must build a wall.
They have a wall. They literally have a wall that keeps everyone out of their country.
Okay, wait. Did they say this? We will make Wakanda great again.
Yeah.
Did they say that?
They totally said that.
They didn't need to because it was already great.
Did he say this? Oh, look at you, Sleepy Joe. Did he say that at any point?
No.
Okay.
But but I was commenting on the movie and I was like, listen, they did Iron Man white dude, they did Thor white dude, Captain America white dude. I got no issue with the color of these guys' skin.
Right.
But I do recognize that sooner or later there's going to be a movie that's not a white dude. You know what I mean? Like, they got to make movies for everybody in this country that people can enjoy. And they do it right when they don't beat you over the head with the ideology and just show regular people doing regular things, right?
Right. But now they're beating us over the head with the ideology. Right.
I think, I can't remember who was here, and we were talking about this, saying that, like, for every show, you're allowed, like, 1 teaspoon of like social justice or like ideology. So you're watching a movie, it's a horror movie, and there's like a vampire and he's attacking people, and then they make like a passive comment about redlining in urban environments or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, as they do. Right.
Oh, I just ate some red-pilled blood. Oh, and then
the vampire like goes to a poor community and they make a reference.
Yeah.
The point is, if you're watching a movie and they make a social commentary, a little bit is fine, and we recognize that and go, oh, I see. But now what we're getting is literally the whole movie itself is just a social commentary. So there's no story, there's no plot, it's trash.
Get woke, go broke.
Exactly. I thought Black Panther was actually good. There was a lot of social commentary in it, but I thought it was good because T'Challa was like Trump. I mean, not in the sense of his attitude. I mean, T'Challa and his physique. T'Challa was super ripped. You know,
so you're saying it was more masculine than Donald Trump.
Than much more masculine than Trump. But like to see the argument where they're talking about how these other African nations are doing really, really bad.
Yeah.
And Wakanda is doing really well. T'Challa's literally like, if we let in immigrants, they bring their problems with them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's supposed to be the hero for these leftists. He's the black representation that they were cheering for. And here he is saying something that should offend them. But they cheered for it because the ideology was more important to them than what he was actually saying. I thought it was actually really well written.
Is that
regard.
because the power corrupts, that he starts out with these great intentions and then you get
he
to
does
this level?
open up in the end.
Yeah.
But he then goes to one of the but I love this. Seriously, you guys got to watch this because here he is in sub-Saharan Africa in Wakanda. And they have this gigantic wall. It's an invisible barrier that not only stops people from getting into their country, or into their capital city, I suppose, whatever it is, but they also can't even see it.
Okay.
Erase it. They don't want anybody. They're super xenophobic. He says that line, we can't let people in. They'll bring their problems with us. At the end of the movie, when he finally decides to open up the country, does he go and help these other sub-Saharan African countries? No. He goes to Oakland. He goes to the wealthiest country on the planet, and he goes to one of their wealthiest states, and he goes to one of the biggest cities. This guy has problems. Mm-hmm. And he gives resources to the people there. I'm like, that's a profound statement. Remember when they accused Donald Trump of saying something like, we don't want people from these, ish-hole countries.
Yeah.
We want them from Norway or whatever. That's literally what they had T'Challa do.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, okay, we're finally going to open up. Let's get people from, the Zimbabwe and South Africa to come to our country. No, he goes to Oakland. He goes to the country. He goes to the United States where there's prosperity and wealth. He was still, in the end, extremely classist. It's remarkable to see that. Especially remarkable to see how they don't, these woke people don't recognize exactly what was wrong with what T'Challa was doing.
Yeah.
Based on their own ideology.
Let me ask you this. If the actions Trump took were done by a black president, would it have had the same blowback?
For the left?
For the country as a whole and for the left.
The problem with that question is he a black Republican or a black Democrat?
Because if he's a black Republican, the black community is going to call him a certain word. They do it all the time.
No, all the woke people. All of them. The entire... It's not... This is what's really fascinating.
Does it confuse the woke people because they want to have those thoughts and say, "Oh, this guy's a xenophobe. This guy's a bigot. Oh, but he's black. Oh, okay. Is that going to change the argument?"
No. And that's a kind of... It's a really interesting thing. T'Challa in Wakanda from Black Panther had a lot of Trumpian policies, and they loved it. Yeah. Not only that, check this out. The movie shows that in Wakanda, you become the supreme autocrat of the country through patriarchal ritual combat. That's their political process. People loved it.
Yeah.
So even though you have a guy who you should be despising based on what you purport to support, they loved it. If you took a Democrat, a white old man, Joe Biden, they'd vote for him. And they'd claim that he wasn't racist, even though he's got decades of racist history, passing all these laws that are like criticized for being racist. Not anymore.
Joe Biden's the only president that's on camera saying the N-word twice.
Donald Trump won a bunch of awards for... Didn't he win like a couple awards for civil rights?
I know he did.
He's in these photos. He was
Rosa
like...
Parks.
He's the first person to hire a woman to like build a skyscraper. And now he's... they say racist, sexist, anti-gay, Donald Trump, go away. Uh-huh. It's like Donald Trump is the first president in American history to support gay marriage before becoming president.
Yeah.
He unfurled a rainbow flag at like a Republican convention or whatever and got the RNC to clap and cheer for the LGBTQ community. Like that was Trump, but they call him a bigot. Barack Obama comes in, blows up kids in the Middle East. American citizens, they disappear, gone. They don't care. Obama can do what he wants because he's a Democrat. Joe Biden will get elected and they'll sing his praises because he's a Democrat. When they complain that the Republican Party is the party of white men, the RNC had several black people speak. What did the left say? They didn't praise the Republicans for finally doing the right thing and trying to diversify. They said tokens.
Yeah. An
extremely racist comment about legitimate individuals with good policies and good ideas that are worthy of argument, accomplished individuals. And that's why those people make me sick.
Because they're more racist than the other side. Oh, these great black, highly intellectual politicians that are well-spoken, have great policies formulated for their areas. They're only talking because you need them up there. They're tokens. That's exactly what they say. And it's so hypocritical, and our job is to call out that hypocrisy. But when you do, then you're the racist.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.